explain it again. If I'm ever talking sports with you, it ain't about me being right or wrong. It ain't about you being right or wrong. It's about how we arrive at those opinions, okay? And then we share that with each other. And then, based off of our sharing how we came to said conclusions, then regardless of where we sit, on the topic now, we have more well-rounded understanding. We've given different points of view a look and a thought and processed it and, compared it and contrasted it against the stuff coming from our own side. And then once you have new information on a topic, you adjust your opinion. It's not flip-flopping. Okay? It's growing. It's learning. It's developing a deeper, balls deeper understanding of things. Okay? It's not about being right and wrong. That's such a small-minded way to look at it. It's like, I'm right, you're wrong. You're right, I'm wrong. We have a different opinion, whatever. It's like, it has nothing to do with that. I love the people I like talking sports with most of all are people who have either way different or at least a slightly different take than I do, because they're gonna bring up facts, hopefully, valid points, hopefully, that I was either unaware of or that I value differently than they do, or that I interpret differently than they do. And all of that is great. It's gravy. It's healthy. I enjoy it. But if you're the type of sports person who thinks it's just always talking about, this is my opinion and I'm right, and this is your opinion and it's not mine, so you're wrong and I'm right and stuff, like, no, that's not how it works. At least that's not how it's supposed to work, and that's not what I'm trying to do ever when I'm talking sports. Okay, I am just trying to express my thoughts and feelings and opinions, okay? And I will explain to you how I arrived at said things, so there's some context, and some understanding for the other person. And then I look for the rebuttal, and I'm hoping that there's something in the rebuttal that gives me even more knowledge, a deeper understanding, a higher intelligence level of the topic than what I had on my own. So anyway, off topic, sorry, but got that disclaimer out there. Hopefully that was a good, healthy listen for many of you. But now that we've got all of the college bowl games recapped, and you know what happened in all of the ones up until Monday, now let's get to the big Monday championship. We've got the Alabama Crimson Tide, 13-1, number 2 ranked team in the country, taking on the undefeated 14-0 Clemson Tigers. Now, big if here, if the Clemson Tigers are able to win this game, they will be the first ever 15-0 undefeated national champion in the history of Division I college football. So that would be huge. Looking at these programs historically, you definitely got to think the Tide have the advantage and should be the favorite here. I want to say Vegas has them, in fact, as the favorite, even though they've lost once and Clemson has not. The Alabama Crimson Tide lay claim to this year's Heisman Trophy winner, their running back. His last name is Henry. Just an absolute joke, in my opinion, what the Heisman Trophy voting has turned into, what the Heisman Award has turned into. It is supposed to be for the most outstanding college football player. That's the words that they use to define it. The most outstanding college football player. It is a Player of the Year award. Your team could win 0 games. Okay? Your team could go an entire season without winning a single game in college football. But if you break every single season record ever set at your position in that season, by the definition and wording of the award, you should be the Heisman Trophy winner. But college sports, NCAA football primarily with the Heisman Trophy, has tried to mirror and imitate the professional sports' MVP awards much too closely in these regards. And that is not what these awards are supposed to be at all. It specifically says for the most outstanding player and performance in college football this year. If you think that the running back from Alabama has been the most outstanding college football player in the whole nation this year, then you clearly live in Alabama and are a Nick Saban ball washer. Like, tongue ball washing. He wasn't even the best running back, not only in the country, he wasn't even the best running back in his conference. The LSU Tigers running back is by far a better running back, a better football player than the Henry guy from Alabama. By a mile. The guy from LSU is so good, they've got people around the country talking about if the NFL needs to change its draft rules and what age someone can leave college and come to the NFL. That's how good, that's how outstanding this guy is from LSU, the running back from LSU. How outstanding is Henry, the running back from Alabama? Most people don't even know who he is or who won the Heisman Trophy this year because it went to him, and he is anything but outstanding. He is every bit the exact same running back that Alabama has had for the entire Nick Saban era. Do you remember Trent Richardson? Do you remember Eddie Lacy? Do you remember Mark Ingram? They're all the same slow, fat disappointment of an NFL player that was wildly successful and acclaimed and accoladed while in college running the ball for Nick Saban behind an offensive line that's always got somewhere between 2 and 5 NFL starters on it. I mean, come on. It's turned into an MVP. Oh, here's what it is, okay? All sports, college, pro, football, basketball, everything, they're all heading down this unbearable path of that the biggest single player award, the biggest individual player award at the end of our season has to go to the best player on the best team. Why even vote then? Why even keep track of statistics? We can just keep track of the team's win-loss records and go, oh, well, we've all heard of that guy, so he must be the best player on the team, and they're the best team in the country, so MVP, he must be your most valuable player. Well, first off, college football, you don't have a most valuable player award. You have a most outstanding player award. Seriously. Why does it take me to be your voice of reason and intelligence? It really shouldn't. Somebody in the NCAA meeting room of old crinkly white billionaires who have been out of touch with the real world since 1974. It shouldn't take some idiot out of his son's bedroom doing a podcast every week to figure these things out and enlighten the masses, okay? But apparently it does, and you're welcome. I really don't mind. But the point of this whole rant, I think, at least I'm going to try and come up with some BS point to that rant, is that you should not be fooled by the attention and the awards and the recognition that accompany Alabama and all Crimson Tide members this season and every season, it feels like. Do not overvalue those things. You are going to see this national championship game is going to be a great game. I love that you've got an underdog who hasn't played for a national championship since 1980 or 81. Is the last time Clemson competed for a championship. Going up against the Goliath, you've got from a university standpoint, from a program standpoint, I should say, from a program standpoint, Alabama is Goliath, Clemson is David. So, as a Minnesota resident, like, we like that. We love having a David versus Goliath match, so we can root for David because we hate Goliath here in Minnesota because we have never at any point in the history of anything been Goliath. We're always David. Every sport, year after year, we're David. Even if we win the championship, we were David knocking off Goliath. So I do love that element to the game this coming Monday. The element I love most of all is the contrasting football styles that these two teams have. Nick Saban and his Alabama program are as NFL of a program, system, team, scheme, whatever word you want to use, as there is in college football. And that is why Alabama year after year is pumping out as many or more NFL players in the draft than any other school in college football, than a lot of them combined on many years. Because Nick Saban recruits players that have NFL size, NFL speed, NFL talent. Like, if you don't have all the potential to become an NFL player, Saban won't even waste his time showing you his university. Every kid that he brings in there has the speed, size, talent, something, a potential, an intangible, concrete potential element to large success. And consequently, he trains them then in that manner. The offense that they run is an NFL offense. The defense that they run is NFL defense. Every scheme, every play calling, every technique, everything that he's putting on his college team is to be a minor league. He's an unofficial minor league team for the NFL. Each team doesn't have their own actual minor league team, but the league has a few universities that kind of act as its minor league system, and Alabama is the very top of those universities. But then you've got Clemson, on the other hand, who is very much college football team. There's a ton of speed. There might not be a whole lot of size or a whole lot of strength. They don't get really dirty offensively or defensively. There is a lot of option, read option, run option with the quarterback. Offense would be a little more gimmicky, much more college looking and college familiar in its offensive style and in its play calling. Same would go to defense a little bit, except that Clemson defense does have some NFL talent, some NFL speed and physicality on it. So it's a great, I love the contrast, the contrast of the universities, the contrast of the actual football philosophies for both teams. And it's 1 versus 2. I really enjoyed years ago, now it feels like forever ago, when we would use the entire college football season, regular season and conference championships, and based off of that, we would determine who the 2 best teams were, and then we would let those 2 teams play each other. Now, we do all that. We would determine who the 2 best teams are, but then we determine who the next 2 best teams are too, and we make the 2 best teams win a play-in game against the next 2 best teams to make it to the championship. Last year, that did not happen. Upsets happened. So I was very, very happy this year, here in the second year of the playoffs, that 1 met 2. I didn't agree with who they labeled as 1 and 2. And based off of who they labeled 3 and 4, I didn't agree with who they labeled 1 and 2. I agree Clemson should have been ranked number 1. I agree Alabama should have been ranked number 2. But Oklahoma should have been ranked number 3. And Michigan State should have been ranked number 4. But they did not want an Alabama loss. And they knew that Oklahoma was way more capable of beating Alabama than Michigan State. So let's feed Michigan State to Alabama. Let's say they're number 3. And ultimately, we'll disguise it as punishment to the Big 12 conference for not having a conference championship. That's why Oklahoma dropped. We're punishing you because you're in a conference that doesn't play a conference championship game, and we want you to. So that was really my only issue there, was actually with the 3 and 4 seeds, how they were determined. But whoop-de-doo, what does it all mean, Basil? Get to the point, Scotty Ball. Point is, coming up this Monday night,